I bleed orange.
There was just something that you just knew you were in the right place.
Let's go! You want your ball game tonight? They're killing me, Whitey. They're killing me.
The fans respond. Listen to this crowd. The miracle has happened. The Broncos are going to the Super Bowl.
As the first choice in the draft, quarterback John Elway of Stanford.
Snap to Elway. The look, the throw, touchdown to Mark Jackson, 98.5-yard drive. You want to tell me the 37-year-old man doesn't want to win this game? Yeah, no, man. That's sacrifice. Oh, man.
That's the old John Elway that's been doing it for 100 years. He saw that goal line and he went for it.
Target to be the game's most valuable player.
Yeah!
That almost gives you a feeling that maybe this is his last game for the Denver Broncos.
I love you!
The Denver Broncos are one of the NFL's most successful franchises, with only 5 losing seasons since 1973 and 36 consecutive years of home game sellouts. In 2001, the Broncos moved into a new home, Invesco Field at Mile High. To appreciate how far the Broncos have come, one need only look back to their humble beginnings. The Broncos were born in 1960 as part of the upstart American Football League. In the very first AFL game, they beat the Boston Patriots 13-10. But the Broncos were the AFL's weakest franchise, and it would be over a decade before they began to fulfill the promise of that early win. Unlike other AFL owners, the Broncos founder, Bob Howsam, was not a wealthy man.
Here in Denver, we had a stadium, and we were hoping to enlarge it because we were talking about the Continental Baseball League at that time, and so it fit right in. I wanted a football team here for the fans because I thought we had great fans. I needed 35,000 seats to first enter baseball, and secondly, we thought we could draw that many in football in time. We built what is called the South Stands today. That's where our Roughnecks and the Broncos are. And of course, we bought 11,000-seat bleacher section to put in. Our offices, when we started, quite frankly, was a Quonset hut, just like the Marines would have had it.
Howsam sold the team after the 1960 season, but the Quonset hut was Broncos headquarters for another 6 years. Denver's first head coach was Frank Filchuk. His approach to practice was almost as primitive as the team's facilities.
His big thing in practice was, let's play a touch football game. And he'd play this game by like for 2 hours straight. And that's what he considered his practice sessions, you say.
In those years before the AFL-NFL merger, the impoverished Broncos had trouble signing quality players. Veteran quarterback Frank Trapuka joined the team as an assistant coach, but he came out of retirement when Filchuk needed help in the 1960 exhibition opener.
Dublinsky and George Herring were the quarterbacks, and they're not doing anything. So at halftime, Filchuk says to me, you're in shape. Why don't you get dressed and go out and give the people some of their money's worth? He says, throw a few passes, at least they'll enjoy it. So I did that, and 4 years later, I was still with the Broncos.
The dearth of quality went far beyond the quarterback position. The team was so strapped that, for 2 years, they dressed in used uniforms and clearance sale socks, lest anyone mistake Denver's lowly status.
They were the ugliest looking things you ever wanted to see. And of course, I believe he probably got them used from some high school team because the sizes were very small. I had to cut the armpits in order to be able to put the jerseys on top of my shoulder pads in order to raise my arm up.
When Jack Faulkner became head coach and general manager, he ordered the hated socks destroyed in a pre-game ceremony.
They took and they piled up all the old uniforms in a big pile, including the socks, and they circled the field with torches. And then they went over to the pile of old uniforms and dropped the torches into the pile of old uniforms, and those old uniforms burned, and that was the end of them.
I still have a pair because I stole them from before they could burn them. So I still have a pair of those old vertical striped socks.
The orange and blue may be Jack Faulkner's most lasting contribution to the Broncos, but Lionel Taylor was a legacy of Frank Filchock. The unheralded receiver showed up at Broncos practice in Week 3 of the 1960 season.
We were playing one of Frank Filchock's touch football games instead of practicing, running pass patterns. And all of a sudden, Lionel makes a couple of one-handed grabs. So all of a sudden, Filchock sees this and he stops practice. And all of a sudden, we're running a few pass patterns to see whether this guy is for real or whether he can only do this in a touch football game.
Taylor signed and started that week and quickly established himself as the Broncos' best offensive player of the AFL era. He led the AFL in receptions in 5 of the league's first 6 years, and his franchise records for receptions and receiving yards stood until 1999.
First guy to catch over 100 passes. Of course, in those days, we threw practically every play, and but Lionel could catch the ball. If he had one drawback, it was the speed. Didn't have that breakaway speed that you look in receivers today. But you put the ball any place near him, he was going to catch it. No question about it.
With too few players like Taylor and Trapuka, the Broncos weren't really competitive in the 1960s, but they often put on a good show, and Denver fans were beginning to take notice. In the preseason of 1967, the Broncos finally left the old Quonset hut behind. New head coach Lou Saban had insisted on better accommodations for the team.
Lou reorganized the football operation. He also told Jerry Phipps that they needed a practice facility. If we're going to be a first-class organization, we've got to have facilities that match what other organizations have.
We didn't even have a practice field. We built this thing up in conjunction with the fans of this area who contributed largely to the operation over the past 3 years. The people in this area have really supported the Broncos, but we also knew that eventually we had to win. They just wouldn't accept losing, which they've been doing for 10 years.
Saban had won 2 AFL titles in Buffalo, but to win at all in Denver, he would need better players. He scored an immediate coup by signing his #1 draft pick, Syracuse running back Floyd Little. Before Little, no top draft pick had ever signed with Denver. One of the most popular players in team history, Little was the engine that drove the Broncos offense for 9 years.
I don't consider myself a power runner. I think I rely on speed, elusiveness, quickness. Actually, I run as fast as necessary, and I don't try to run over anybody. I just try and run around as many people as I can.
But '67 was also a year of crisis for the Broncos. Denver voters rejected a stadium bond issue, and supporters rallied to save the team.
When the Broncos was on the verge of moving, my first year, they were going to sell them to some people in Chicago or Birmingham, We went on this caravan. We went through all the local towns around us, as far as Albuquerque, New Mexico, and up to Rapid City, South Dakota. And we just put together a fan base to rally around and keep the Broncos in Denver. People start wearing orange. They had Orange Sunday, and they start wearing orange hair and then striped hair, and then it just became a place where people really showed their support by virtue of what they wore.
By 1968, enough money had been raised through private contributions to add an upper deck to the west stands. This brought the total capacity to 50,000 seats, the minimum required by the AFL-NFL merger. The Broncos' biggest crowd pleaser of 1968 was rookie Marlin Briscoe. A quarterback in college, Briscoe was only 5'9", so the Broncos moved him to the defensive secondary. But in the home opener, Lou Saban ran out of quarterbacks. Briscoe got the call and became the AFL's first black quarterback. Entering the game with 9:52 left to play and the Patriots leading, Briscoe rallied the Broncos and fell just short of a comeback win.
He came out and he made some great moves and could run. That's another factor. He was a fine ball carrier once he got into the open, and we almost pulled that game out of the fire.
The crowd went crazy. Time ran out, we lost the game. But we came back with like 10 points in one quarter. And so the next game, there was like 30,000 more fans, some ungodly amount of attendance.
Well, they knew one thing, it was going to become exciting. One thing about Marlin, he was going to be all over the place, and the fans were excited themselves. As far as being black, white, or pink, or blue, it didn't make any difference. Here was a talent. They could electrify the fans, and the team itself that surrounded him enjoyed seeing him do the things that he was doing.
I still have the record for the most touchdown passes by a Denver Bronco rookie, even over John Elway, and it still stands today. I threw 14 touchdown passes, something of that nature. That record still stands, and I'm kind of proud of that.
Briscoe left the Broncos after the '68 season and became a starting receiver with the Bills and Dolphins. But his brief career as the Broncos quarterback was a landmark that helped redefine the position. During his tenure, Saban laid the groundwork for Denver's enduring tradition of dominating defense, adding legendary defenders like safety Billy Thompson, tackle Paul Smith, and ends Lyle Elzado and Rich Tombstone Jackson. In 1969, Saban's defense produced the Broncos' first ever shutout in a game that became notorious for a scoreboard stunt.
Those days, we didn't beat a lot of people, let alone shut anybody out. Well, that particular day, we played very, very well against the San Diego Chargers.
Final score, Broncos 13, hot dogs nothing.
I think they still remember that. In fact, when we went down there to play the Chargers, it was throwing hot dogs and everything else down at you, and it's not a fun thing to do.
By 1970, there was a waiting list for Broncos season tickets.
It's your ball game tonight.
Fans appreciated the passion that Lou Saban brought to the game.
Defense, Steve. Big play. Strong pass. Strong side. Come on, Steve. Big one.
Saban's volatile personality was captured in some of the most memorable sideline sound ever recorded.
They're killing me, Whitey. They're killing me. I tell you, it's going to cost Dedeke, and it's going to cost Dedeke penny. Who didn't go in? Dedeke. Hell no. You don't give him a break. I'd like to see him die out there. Let him go.
But Saban's team never won more than 5 games in a season, and frustration was mounting. Finally, in the 1971 opener, the man who had done so much to build the fan base lost the support of the fans by settling for a tie.
We were playing the Miami Dolphins. We were a young team, just getting started. I think we had won our first game. Lou had to get some victories, and we had an opportunity to beat him. It was down in the last minute or so, and I remember Lou sending in the plays to run the ball. We're going to run the clock out. And that was the worst mistake I think the coach had ever made, because his statement was to the press at the end of the game was, hey, a half a loaf is better than none. But the fans didn't see it that way, and the press didn't see it that way. And boy, it was the worst thing you had ever seen. You think that hot dog deal was bad. I think that half a loaf thing was even worse, because every game, can you imagine, then the stadium held 55,000 people. Other than the players' wives, everybody had to have a half a loaf of bread. And they was bombarding the field with those halves of loaves of bread.
The half-a-loaf game set the tone for a dismal season, and it was the beginning of the end for Lou Saban. He resigned as head coach in mid-November. On opening day of the 1972 season, a capacity crowd jammed into Mile High Stadium to witness the beginning of a new era in Broncos history. Denver notched a win over Houston in a game that showcased exciting new talent and a new upbeat attitude, the hallmarks of John Ralston's philosophy. Ralston came to Denver from Stanford University on the wings of back-to-back Rose Bowl victories. He believed in the power of positive thinking, and he practiced what he preached.
All right, now I gotta have that great coverage. All right, we're gonna knock one clean out of here. All right, now come on, man. Let's get a hand in here. Let's go down there and knock somebody's jock off. What do you say? Come on, let's go to work.
I'm an accredited Dale Carnegie instructor, and I'm kind of a nut on that. Certainly enthusiasm, the magic of enthusiasm is so important in coaching, because you can get that little extra edge. Now, I just happen to believe in this.
Not everyone bought into Ralston's relentless cheerleading, but few questioned his eye for talent. His first significant trade brought in quarterback Charlie Johnson, a battered veteran who had been written off by the Cardinals and Oilers. Johnson showed his mettle in his first start, leading the 1-4 Broncos against the division-leading Raiders. The Broncos smashed the Raiders, 30-23. It was their first victory over Oakland in 10 years. In mid-season, Ralston added another offensive weapon, wide receiver Haven Moses, a fifth-year man from the Bills. Moses' big playability and spectacular catches soon made him Johnson's favorite target. Charlie Johnson brought a new maturity and toughness to the Broncos' offense.
We used to kid before the game, we'd look and marvel. They'd stand him up on the table and they'd tape him, from head to toe. We called him the mummy. I mean, his body had been ravaged over time, but he was a smart quarterback. He was a very patient quarterback, and I have to attribute my success from that point. He taught me the professional side of the game, the understanding of how you work together as a team and getting on the same page, or getting to that point, how things happen automatically. You don't have to work as hard.
But neither Johnson's leadership nor Dale Carnegie's teachings made success automatic. The Broncos won only 5 games in 1972.
No. We haven't put the parts completely together yet. We play good offense for a while, good defense for a while. Got to put both halves together.
The turning point came on Orange Monday in 1973, when Denver made its first ever appearance on Monday Night Football.
All right, now this is when you find out what kind of football team we have. Find out how badly we want to play the game. Okay.
With 41 seconds left to play and the game tied, George Blanda kicked a 49-yard field goal to give the Raiders a 23-20 lead. The Broncos had only 30 seconds to work with, but they didn't fold. Charlie Johnson engineered a 3-play drive that put Denver in field goal position with 7 seconds remaining. Jim Turner's kick was good, and the Broncos escaped defeat. In 1971, a tie game had led to Lou Saban's downfall. This time, it saved a season.
The electricity, the energy from that stadium, you could have lit up the rest of the world. It being Monday night, it being the Raiders, and the Broncos having the season that they were having, all of a sudden there was hope. If we hadn't done anything after that, then it would have been lost.
But the '73 Broncos did do something. When they beat the Chargers on the road in Week 13, they clinched a winning record, the first in franchise history. They finished 7-5-2.
When I arrived, the thing that intrigued me the most was that I knew the Broncos had never had a winning season, but the stands were full. Those two things didn't correlate. I was like, why are fans coming to see a team that doesn't win? They gave us the feeling that they truly cared no matter what the situation was.
By the time the Broncos treated Denver fans to their first winning season, Denver fans had already treated the Broncos to several years of sellouts and standing room only.
From the mid-'60s until the Broncos became a Super Bowl contender, there was a unique love affair in Denver because there was nothing else. This was a dusty old cow town, and the Broncos were Denver's first link with big-time anything.
It was in 1973, as die-hard fans got their first taste of winning, that plain vanilla Bronco mania gave way to orange fever.
The origin of Bronco mania moving into a new era was the inception of an Orange Sunday. And everybody was told to bring something orange, wear something orange. And that was one day, one Sunday. The next year, there would be another Orange Sunday, but everybody took every Sunday and made it into an Orange Sunday. It really grew in the 70s, and by 73 or 74, to look out and to say sea of orange was so absolutely true that orange became not only the team's colors, but orange became a way of life in Denver.
But John Ralston, who had led the cheers since his arrival in Denver, failed to make good on his promises.
I thought if we could improve, get a winning season the second year, there's no reason why we couldn't be in the Super Bowl the third year.
In 1976, the Broncos won 9 games but still didn't make the playoffs. Ralston had improved the team, but not enough to meet the expectations that he himself had done so much to raise.
That hurt him in the end. He kept promising the Super Bowl, kept promising that this team was going to beat the Oakland Raiders and the Kansas City Chiefs, and didn't do it.
Ironically, the players believed they could keep Ralston's promises, but not with Ralston as coach. They asked management to make a coaching change.
John Ralston took the Broncos to the next level, and he was an incredible judge of talent. He took a Rick Upchurch, who was a running back in Minnesota, and turned him into wide receiver. He became the greatest punt returner in the league over a period of about 8 to 10 years.
Rick Upchurch was a 4th-round draft pick in 1975. Tom Jackson was a 4th-round pick in '73. But Ralston's skill at picking players is best shown by his top picks, impact players all. Riley Odoms in 1972. Otis Armstrong in '73, Randy Gradishar in '74, and Lewis Wright in '75.
Looking back on it now, I believe that we made a mistake. We went to the Super Bowl the next year, but we went with John Ralston's football team. Only later on did I discover how important his contributions were to our success.
Whatever his shortcomings, John Ralston turned the tide for the Broncos and brought an end to the years of futility. In 1977, Denver's steadfast fans returned to Mile High Stadium for the 18th season of Broncos football. After another round of renovations, Mile High was finally full-grown, with a total capacity of just over 75,000. Despite the disappointments of years past, the ranks of Bronco maniacs had continued to swell. This year, the team would finally deliver a championship. An unlikely hero had arrived in the person of quarterback Craig Morton, another aging veteran looking for a chance to extend his career. He was welcomed by a team that was looking for that one missing ingredient, and the man who made it possible was Ralston's replacement, Red Miller.
Red Miller is probably one of the finest men I've ever known, and a tremendous coach, and he's just a joy to play for. He's a real fair man. He enjoys the game. He lets people have fun, yet they know how to work for him too, and it's great to be in a situation like that.
He brought a structure. I mean, he was a hard-nosed lineman in his day, and we needed that. We needed to be pulled together. We had talent, and talent only goes so far. You have to pull it together. You have to hit it in the right direction. And I think Red was that catalyst.
Red brought that professional atmosphere to the team that Ralston was never able to do, because Ralston was more of the college rah-rah type coach. Red brought the professionalism. He also brought Craig Morton. Without him, I don't think they'd have won in 77.
Craig Morton had the bad legs, he had the scars on both knees, but he could throw the football. And he had a lot of heart. He was tough.
Early in the season, the gutsy Morton made some surprising moves. In weeks 1 through 4, bad knees and all, he converted a critical 4th down and scored 3 touchdowns. Undefeated at 4-0, the Broncos were off to their best start ever. But their Week 5 opponent had won 17 in a row. Against the Raiders, the Orange Crush defense lived up to its name, harassing Ken Stabler and snagging 7 interceptions.
Stabler in the end zone, rolling to his right, looking a flag down as the pass is intercepted at the 15. Return for a touchdown by Lewis Wright.
The game's most memorable play featured kicker Jim Turner.
42-yard try by Turner. Ball is down. It's a fake. Wees looking, throwing. Turner wide open. Catches the ball at the 15. He'll score a touchdown. The grand old man has done it.
The Broncos had knocked the Raiders from the ranks of the unbeaten and taken sole possession of first place in the AFC West. Denver's 6-0 start raised Bronco mania to a fever pitch. A trip to Mile High Stadium would never be the same. What began as a love affair with Denver's defense mushroomed into a social epidemic.
They dressed in all kinds of ways. They were totally orange, that's for sure. And then you had the barrel man that was the true Bronco mania individual.
I bleed orange. The team is family to me. My kids grew up with the Broncos. It's hard to explain, but the passion that the fans have in this town is beyond belief. And the team plays to the way the fans are cheering.
It was one of the most deafening sounds that I've ever heard, but the electricity of it all. As a player, it made you want to just get out there and play and get more out of the fans. And the more you would get out of the fans, the more you wanted to play.
After a Week 7 loss, it was time to apply Red Miller's motto, "We'll win it in the fourth quarter." A fourth down pass with less than 2 minutes to play was the clincher in San Diego. A last-second goal line stand saved a win in Kansas City. If the game was close going into the fourth quarter, the Broncos found a way to seal the deal. For 18 years, they had wandered in the desert. By the end of November, they were one win away from the promised land of the playoffs. The key to the Broncos' success in 1977 was the Orange Crush defense.
11 guys, they had that burning desire to get to the football. It was just a gut check every game, and those guys came to play. I think it was a feeling, and you can't manufacture a feeling, but it was their desire to win and lead the team.
In 1977, the Orange Crush allowed only 148 points and 18 touchdowns, franchise records that still stand after nearly 30 years. Win number 11 on the road in Houston was the clincher. The Broncos had finally made it to the playoffs. Returning home, they were met at the airport by hordes of ecstatic fans. The Oakland Raiders had just fallen to the LA Rams, making the Denver Broncos the new AFC Western Division champions.
Denver fans were just so excited to be a part of this first episode of winning. We're winning. And we're not only winning, but it looks like we may have a chance to actually do something at the end of the season.
Good afternoon from Mile High Stadium in Denver. This is Bob Martin with Larry Zimmer as the Denver Broncos meet the Pittsburgh Steelers. The first time in the history of the Bronco franchise they have ever been in a playoff game.
Christmas 1977 came a day early in Denver. The Broncos flustered Pittsburgh quarterback Terry Bradshaw, intercepting him 3 times. Denver scored 13 unanswered points in the fourth quarter to win their first ever playoff game. A week later, on a frigid day at Mile High Stadium, the Broncos faced the Raiders again in the biggest game in Denver history. The blue and orange crushed the silver and black to earn their first conference championship. The M&M connection of Craig Morton and Haven Moses hooked up for 2 touchdowns. The first, a 74-yard bomb on their second play from scrimmage. Moses' touchdown put the Broncos on top for good. For Denver, the emotion of that game transcends time.
Jumping up and down on the sidelines. The fans respond. Listen to this crowd. The Broncos on the field. It is over. The miracle has happened. The Broncos are going to the Super Bowl.
I'll tell you now, the home field helped tremendously because the fans were there and they were really there. The whole town went crazy and the whole area, they were proud. They had something to be proud of for the first time in pro sports. And this was something that was really unbelievable.
Do they believe now? Do they believe now? They wonder if they believe we're for real now. Huh? Well, I guarantee you we're for real.
Hey, listen now. 4 quarters, 60 minutes, and we're the champions. Yeah! Let's go, baby!
In 1977, the Dallas Cowboys were the best team in football. Denver was number 2.
When they found out the game or realized that the game was out of reach and we were going to lose, our fans stood up behind us and began to chant, "We love you."
After 18 years, can you believe that we're here?
I had tears running down my cheeks as I walked out of that stadium because as we walked out, we were still chanting it. We wanted to keep the Bronco mania going. We didn't want it to die just because we'd lost the Super Bowl.
One disappointing evening in New Orleans couldn't erase a season of unbounded success. Denver fans will never forget a rookie head coach who built on the will to win instilled by his predecessor, and a team that finally made good on 18 years' worth of promises. In 1978, the Denver Broncos were again a force to be reckoned with. Although they lost to the Steelers in the playoffs, they won the AFC West to the delight of their colorful fans.
I bleed orange. It's a 24/7, 365 days a year. I'm a Bronco fan, and I let everybody know I am a Bronco fan.
Some loyalty is shown in strange ways.
Been a bet with my brother. He bet me $10 that I wouldn't wear nothing but that barrel. That was a one-time deal, and they said, "Oh no, you got to do it again."
But the Broncos under Red Miller couldn't do it again and would never achieve the success they had in 1977. Miller became increasingly frustrated.
This places you in next week's game, then it becomes even more critical with Oakland.
Right. You want me to comment on that?
Miller would coach Denver only 4 years. In 1981, owner Edgar Kaiser replaced Miller with Cowboys assistant coach Dan Reeves. In 1983, Reeves was handed his quarterback of the future, a fresh-faced kid named John Elway. Elway was in demand by both pro football leagues, as well as Major League Baseball.
All 3 of those leagues were looking at him as some form of salvation to some degree. John Elway was really a cartoonist dream come true. We want big ears. We want gigantic noses, great jowls, or we want big teeth. And of course, when John Elway came along, he was a dream come true.
John Elway was a dream come true for every team he played for. In high school, he was a star football and baseball player.
Elway's back in the end zone with the football and throwing way downfield.
What's it going to be, football? Or? It's going to be both. I'm not sure in what, though. But you're going to college? Yeah. Whereabouts? Stanford. Yes.
His record-breaking years at Stanford made him a surefire #1 pick in the NFL draft. But Baltimore, a team he had little desire to play for, held the first pick.
Baltimore selects as the first choice in the draft quarterback John Elway of Stanford.
It was a great honor, definitely, to be drafted #1 in the NFL draft. We had been in discussions with him 2 and 3 months before the draft that I was not going to play in Baltimore, that if that came to it, I was going to play baseball for the Yankees, and I was fortunate to have an option.
He was very serious about not playing in Baltimore. Had they not made a deal with Denver, I think he would have played baseball.
The Colts traded Elway to the Broncos.
I was saying, God, I hope this goes and plays football, because if he does, I'm out of a job.
I was actually the first guy to have a choice, to do something else. So I guess that's why I became notorious in that way. But, it's turned out to be the right move. I'm a 23-year-old kid coming out of college where, I was still, I was a football player, but I was still a student there and had a bunch of buddies. And all of a sudden you step out and they pay you good money to play football. And all of a sudden the expectations level of you raise tenfold. And the world became a lot smaller for me because I couldn't go out and be the kid that I had been. And that all changed in 1 week when we went to camp.
H left topo, double H 36 OT on it.
They really followed John. I mean, they had the Elway watch, they were concerned about what he ate for lunch and what he was doing.
Everything that John did was reported.
It was crazy. I mean, it was, you documented his hair getting cut. You documented, his walking to and from the dorm room to the cafeteria.
The passion that the fans have in this town is beyond belief.
Go to training camp the next day, every move, what you eat, getting a haircut is a big deal. And it has a tendency, little things like that, a lot of times get blown out of proportion and turn into a lot bigger deals than they really are.
My expectations were higher than the expectations that people were putting on me. Therefore, I had to live up to my own expectations and not theirs.
It's interesting when a young man with the publicity that an Elway has had, even the football teams, you can tell that it's got their attention. Everybody's craning their neck to see what he's going to do.
First snap I ever took. I mean, Jack Lambert's staring across me in Pittsburgh, my first regular season, and Jack Lambert's across, playing middle linebacker, and no teeth. He's snarling, he's spitting, he's yelling at me, and I'm going, God, you can have all the money back. You can just blink me out of here right now. I'll go be an accountant. But that was pretty intimidating, seeing him and realizing what the NFL was all about. But there's no question, that first year it was frustrating.
Nothing comes easy in the NFL, and while Elway may have been hailed as a savior, it was he who often needed saving. From the beginning of his Broncos career, however, his athletic skills were evident. He could scramble to make plays. He could catch the ball. And he had perhaps the strongest arm the NFL had ever seen.
He has the strongest arm I've ever seen in my life. I have never seen a guy with that kind of arm in my life.
In his rookie year, all those skills culminated in a comeback against the team that had picked, then traded him.
4th down and 2 Broncos. Elway is back. Here comes the safety blitz.
It was an easy pass for me. I just dumped in the ball, and he did the rest of the work from there.
Will Hyde at the 10. Will Hyde at the 5. Will Hyde to the goal line. Touchdown! 4th and 2, and the Broncos get the touchdown to go ahead.
Being able to do that my rookie year helped my confidence, and plus it was a great feeling to do against the Colts.
3 years later, Elway guided his team to the AFC Championship.
And the dog bones were everywhere, of course, during that game. I just thought, Superman kind of picking up the big dog bone was kind of appropriate at the time. And the end zones were flailing them all over the place. They were, all over.
But against the Dogs, the Broncos were underdogs.
That's what we've been working for a long time. Let's go out and have some fun now. Let's get active from the start.
For John, going into his 4th year, not winning a playoff game, and people saying, hey, you can't win a playoff, and you can't get to the Super Bowl, da-da-da-da-da-da.
The Browns took a 7-0 lead after a Bernie Kosar touchdown pass. The legs of John Elway carried Denver back into the game, His run set up a touchdown, and the Broncos gained a 10-7 advantage. After 2 Cleveland field goals and another Kosar touchdown toss, the Broncos trailed 20-13. The game appeared to be over after the ensuing kickoff was downed at the Broncos' own 1.5-yard line with less than 6 minutes left in regulation.
As that drive started, looking at John's eyes, that fierce look of determination came there.
It's total concentration. I can remember the only thing that has kind of gone down in the history books was Keith Bishop saying, you know, we got him right where we want him.
Nope. About the 1.5. Still 5 minutes to go, but they need something out of this drive. Come on, Johnny!
Had 1st and 10 our own 2, and 5 minutes to go in the game, and we needed a touchdown just to get it in overtime.
And with every completed pass, John became more confident.
All right, Sammy, baby! All right!
Once we got a couple first downs, and then, you know, I think that at that point in time, we felt like we were rolling.
Empty waggle right. Mitchell, the H-back. Elway to pass on 1st down. The pass for Sewell. Got it and keeps it at the 48-yard line, and was he hammered. Now they are faced with a 3rd and 18.
In 2-minute situations where you got to get lucky, and there's no question we were lucky on this situation because the crowd was so loud.
42 seconds to go. Broncos at the Cleveland 5. 3rd down and a yard.
Come on, guys. Come on. Stick it to him, baby. Stick it to him.
The snap to Elway. The look. The throw. Touchdown to Mark Jackson. 98.5-yard drive.
I threw that one hard, and Harrison's hand just missed the ball when it was going through there.
That was in my 4th year in the league. And so that was really kind of my coming out party. I mean, that got me over the hump as far as people respected me as a player.
The game went into overtime, where Elway led the Broncos 60 yards to set up a Rich Karlis field goal attempt.
This will be a 32-yard try to win it in overtime.
I was able to fulfill some of the expectations that people thought of me when I came into the league.
For us to be able to start on our own 2 and go 98 to get it in overtime, something I'll always remember.
We actually are going to the Super Bowl. That was the ultimate.
I got to be honest, I haven't been back to Cleveland since the drive. And actually, I'm still wondering if, because when I went there, the fire hydrants are all painted orange with my numbers on them. I just wonder if the paint's worn off yet.
He was trying to do it all himself. Elway was the whole team, and unfortunately, at that point in time, he really didn't have, much of a supporting cast around him.
If it hadn't been for John, we would have never been there. I mean, he was the catalyst.
Elway may have been the catalyst, but the results in his first 3 Super Bowls were cataclysmic. Denver managed to take a 10-9 lead over the Giants in the first half of Super Bowl XXI before things fell apart.
In the case of the Giants, out in the Rose Bowl, I think they faced a better team.
Parcells had convinced that team, even though they got all the way to the Super Bowl doing things one way, to turn it completely around, go the other way. And by the time we figured it out, it was too late.
The fans remained loyal through it all.
They'd given us a good season. They'd made us proud. We were a Cinderella team. We weren't even supposed to be there.
A 56-yard bomb on Denver's first play from scrimmage in Super Bowl XXII helped give the Broncos a 10-0 lead over the Redskins.
I can't explain what happened in that game.
What happened was Doug Williams, who threw 4 touchdown passes in one of the greatest performances in Super Bowl history.
We know this was a good team, but we keep going in front of the world and looking like idiots, you know, and sticking our elbow in our soup right in front of the Queen, you know. We know we're better than this, but we were really ready for losing. We were ready to lose again.
Well, we lost 3 in 4 years. Not only did we get beat, we got embarrassed.
Against the 49ers in Super Bowl 24, the Broncos never had a chance.
The 49ers were definitely better. I mean, the score is probably indicative of how much better they were.
I think that we just got in some bad matchups. We got in situations where we were taken advantage of.
Now, John, you know, yeah, you can get us to the Super Bowl, but you can't win the big one, you know, so that went on for a long time.
The Denver Broncos have always taken pride in their Orange Crush defense. And in the 1980s, a new generation crushed opponents like an avalanche. The team fed off their fans' emotion.
I have a problem with people who sit on their hands, particularly when your defense is out there. Is the 12th man, who is the fan in the stands, is an important factor.
People are painting their houses orange and, you know, naming their kids John Elway, and it was crazy. I've never seen anything like it.
We're going to have to fight them. We're going to fight them. We've got to get fired up. Keep flying around and things will start going our way.
Defensive end Rulon Jones, number 75, recorded 73 and a half sacks in his 9-year career, while making the Pro Bowl twice. Jones was joined in opponents' backfields by 12th round draft choice Carl Mecklenburg.
You know, I really didn't know enough about the NFL to know that I wasn't supposed to make it.
How he ever fell to the 12th round, no one knows, you know, but the Broncos were smart enough to take him there.
Mecklenburg made life difficult for opposing quarterbacks, recording 79 and a half sacks while going to 6 Pro Bowls.
We're coming. We're not going to let them sit back there and pick us apart.
His versatility is what made him so valuable to the defense.
Anytime you can be versatile and be used in different positions, you're much more valuable to the team.
He was equally capable against the run, and it seemed nothing could stop him. Well, almost nothing.
I got punched in the in a pop, so be careful in there. We're not fooling around.
His versatility extended to pass coverage, and he was named AFC Player of the Year in 1986. Part of his success can be attributed to the men behind him.
A gap opens up in front of you as a linebacker, and you got a chance to shoot the gap and make a play in the backfield. If you're afraid of, well, if I miss that play, there's not going to be anybody behind me to take care of it, then you're making the 5-yard gain tackle or the 6-yard gain tackle instead of the 2-yard loss tackle.
Dennis Smith and Steve Atwater gave Denver the most physical safety tandem in the NFL.
Well, they were the prototype safeties. You know, if you got through the line, you better be looking for one of the two of them because they're going to hit you. Dennis Smith was a fearless player. He was not quite as big as Steve. Probably a little quicker. I don't know. It's hard for me to choose between the two of them because they were both great and they were really fun to watch.
We the trucks, they the Ferraris. Well, we have some collisions. What happens when the collisions? When a guy driving a truck run into a Ferrari, he usually get out and say, "Damn, you all right?"
If you get a hold of a running back, you got to get him to the ground quick, or you're going to get Atwater or Dennis Smith right in the back of the head because they're coming. They intimidated a lot of running backs. I know they intimidated a lot of receivers.
Defenses were sort of geared to their strength. They would funnel things toward the middle of the field, and that's why they were able to get such big hits.
We always played with a great team concept. Everybody had gap assignments, except the safety. More often than not, the safety just was going to the ball, and when they got there, good things happened for us.
I mean, the guy, he was competitive and wanted to win at all costs.
John Elway was always able to bedevil the Dogs. In the AFC Championship, 1 year after the drive, the Broncos again faced the Cleveland Browns.
Elway takes the snap and drops inside the 10, running up in the pocket, trying to get around some of the pressure. They throw the pass upfield. Jackson at the 25, breaks a tackle, gets out over the 30.
Elway's touchdown pass helped Denver to a 21-3 halftime lead. Midway through the fourth quarter, the Browns had tied the score at 31.
John was so amazingly adept at those last-second comebacks.
Let's go, fans! Come on, baby. Come on. Come on.
Elway always seemed at his best against Cleveland and their coach, Marty Schottenheimer.
There's a gleam, man. There's a gleam.
He was Wile E. Coyote, and Elway was the Roadrunner. I mean, that sums up their relationship in a nutshell.
Red 98! Come on! Red 98! Hot!
Elway finished off another classic long drive with a 20-yard touchdown toss to Sammy Winder to give the Broncos a 38-31 lead. But once again, the Browns marched downfield.
38-31 Denver, 2nd and 5 at the 8 for the Browns with 1:12 to go.
The 8-yard line. Fighter inside the 5 to the 4 to the 3 to the 2. He fumbles the football and the Broncos have it. Doesn't seem fair.
Denver always seemed to blast off to new heights against the Browns, but in 1992 against Houston, they had a problem.
Y'all know what they're going to do. Let's take control now. Ready?
The Oilers jumped to a 21-6 lead against a seemingly lifeless Denver team. The Broncos stampeded back to narrow the deficit to 1 point.
Here's the give to Lewis. Lewis scores! Touchdown!
Down by 1 point and 98 yards from the end zone. A situation Taylor made for John Elway.
I'll tell you what, I mean, you couldn't ask for more. John Elway has a chance here. It's a long way to go. This game is far from over. I've seen this club move too many times to think it's over.
24-23 the score. Elway in the shotgun and in the end zone. Here's his pass. It's caught. Young makes it out at the 24-yard line. Down by Chris Dishman.
Elway converted 2 fourth downs on the drive.
4th down and 6 to go. Down to 1:28. Here's the snap. He's got some time. Flushed out. Rolls out. Being chased. Here's Elway. First down at the 35-yard line. Oh, my.
I think that pocket's going to move.
Here's the 4th down and 10 play. Elway's got the ball. John is back. Runs up out of the pocket. Lets the pass go. It's caught. Johnson to the 40. 35.
I'll tell you what. You can say what you want to. I don't think I want anybody back there except number 7.
25 and out of bounds at the 21-yard line of the Islanders.
Kubiak will hold. Here's the snap. The kick is good! Broncos lead 26-24.
Gary Kubiak did a marvelous job of getting it down, and he and Treadwell right now, the happiest people in Mile High Stadium. This place is a madhouse. 76,000 plus have lost their minds at Mile High Stadium. Oh, unbelievable. Unbelievable finish.
And this place has gone bananas as the Broncos, with one of their greatest come from behind win. Denver 26, Houston 24.
In 1995, Broncos owner Pat Bowlen hired Mike Shanahan, Denver's former offensive coordinator, as head coach. Shanahan had just come off a record-breaking year with the 49ers.
You know, Mike had the opportunity to stay where he was, which was in San Francisco, which was obviously a very, very good job. He had the opportunity to take other head coaching jobs, and he chose Denver. That makes me very proud. Makes me very proud of the city, makes me very proud of my team, to know that Shanahan's coming here to coach it. Mike Shanahan will have full control of football operations. That's what I want him to do. So it's my great, great pleasure to introduce the new head coach of the Denver Broncos, Mike Shanahan.
Suiting up for Shanahan, John Elway would elevate his game to new heights.
Okay, Elway is going to pass it, and Sharp's going to catch it at the 20, at the 15, at the 10, at the 5, and into the end zone.
With Shanahan and players like tight end Shannon Sharp and running back Terrell Davis, the pieces were in place for another Super Bowl run. In the 1995 NFL Draft, the Denver Broncos went looking for a diamond in the rough. They found a gem in the 6th round in running back Terrell Davis.
The last preseason game was Jacksonville, and we started Terrell Davis, and we wanted to see how good this guy was. And after he played in that Jacksonville game, we knew we had our starter. And he was so deceptive, he could run through a guy. And he had the speed, especially in that second half, to outrun people. You never know how a guy's going to step up. He looked so good. We knew he had something special.
Anybody that has 176 yards and about 30 carries, you got to beat him.
Right from the start, you saw Terrell every time he got the ball, he made positive yardage, he ran hard. This stuff is all upfield. There's not a lot of side to side. I mean, he'll go side, and then he makes a decision, and he hits that son of a gun full bore.
Davis did more than impress. He showed veteran poise and the ability to learn on the fly. He quickly earned a spot in the starting lineup and became an important part of the offense.
The thing that he did that most guys aren't able to do as a rookie is mentally he picked up everything we were doing. He was going to make some rookie mistakes, but mentally he was ready to play, so you don't find that very often in this league, and that's what jumped him over the hump, in my opinion.
In Davis's first season, he rushed for 1,117 yards, becoming the lowest drafted player to ever rush for 1,000 yards in his rookie season.
I was probably the only back who was drafted that low to ever get a chance to start, you know, and play the whole season to get 1,000 yards.
Good job. Hey, that's it. Nice running, baby. Nice running there. Nice work.
Over the next 3 seasons, Davis developed into one of the premier backs in the NFL. In his first 4 seasons, TD rushed for over 6,400 yards to become the Broncos' all-time leader. He was chosen to play in 3 Pro Bowls and was named the league MVP in 1998.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Good job, boss.
The offset out. They've run the ball out of this. Here we go again. Toss left. Davis cuts back. Big hole. Terrell Davis. Here we go. He's gone. And Terrell Davis, the last 2 times he's touched the football, has gone 63 and 59 yards, both for touchdowns.
In 1998, Davis became only the 4th running back in NFL history to surpass 2,000 yards rushing in a single season.
Elway by himself, he takes the handoff, running left. Terrell breaks the tackle, he's got it, there it is! Terrell Davis is mobbed by his teammates on the sideline. He has just become only the 4th player in NFL history to go over 2,000 yards in a single season. And a standing ovation by the Bronco faithful here at Mile High Stadium as everybody chants TD.
I want to give this TD 2,008 yards rushing for the season.
A lot of people wrote John off, I think, a little early. Elway was a competitor. He was a guy who was going to give everything he had to the very bitter end, no matter what the outcome.
The outcome in Super Bowls for the Broncos had been disappointing. In their 5th, Super Bowl 32, they were again underdogs.
What it's all about! Go out, play your hearts out, we'll come out on top! Leave it out here, baby. Broncos on 3, 1, 2, 3, Broncos!
The defense pounded the pack.
Okay, pass. The wide receiver on the left.
But Green Bay took a 7-0 lead.
The end zone. Back there is Antonio Freeman. Touchdown, Packers! Antonio Freeman on an absolutely gorgeous throw by Brett Favre. It's all right. Let's go, guys. That's all right. That's all right. Let's go. Let's go.
Denver rallied with the running of Terrell Davis.
Go. There you go.
TD's TD tied the game at 7.
Elway, handoff, Davis into the end zone, touchdown!
Yeah. A pretty good way for the Broncos to answer.
But Davis was dinged before the half.
And I think Davis may be shaken up. And this would be bad, costly for the Broncos.
Biggest, most celebrated headache in the world.
I said, hey, Coach, you know, I got a headache. A headache in the Super Bowl. I mean, how can you have a headache in the Super Bowl?
How are you? TD.
Dave, number 30 on the bench right now, getting some medical attention. My guesstimate is he may have a migraine. He's been taking some of that oxygen.
Need a little rest? Okay.
He got a concussion. He's scared to run the ball. He ain't running hard no more. He ain't gonna run hard no more. He's scared. They out the game. You gotta take him out.
Don't worry about seeing on this place because we're going to fake it to you, the 15 lead. But if you're not in there, they won't believe we're going to throw the ball.
That shows you what a trooper he was to go in there. He couldn't even see anyone in there. I've been told my compassion isn't very high after that situation.
Deception saved the day, as Davis was used as a decoy.
John, it will trot into the end zone, touchdown!
Green Bay really pitched everything inside, and he had daylight to the outside on the right.
Elway's clear path to the end zone was the result of a brave player and a bold call from the head coach.
He kind of looked at me a little different. He said, look at me, he's like, yeah, you are crazy, aren't you?
Hey, guys, let's go!
With the game tied at 17, Elway took to the air in more ways than one.
Packers jumping around, they rush 4. Plenty of time for John now. Squeezes, steps up in the pocket. Elway can run inside the 10. Head first. He dives inside the 5-yard line.
My goodness. You want to tell me the 37-year-old man doesn't want to win this game? That's sacrifice.
All you have to do is watch that helicopter shot of him against the Packers in Super Bowl 32. It says everything about John Elway in one single play.
Goal line, goal line, goal line.
Second and goal from the 1. Elway, Davis to the end zone. Touchdown, Denver! That was a 93-yard drive. Second and goal from the 1. Davis into the end zone.
The Broncos had a 31-24 lead, but Green Bay had one last chance.
Play like you always do.
A lot of blitz.
Yeah, whatever you would do, normal.
Believe it or not, I was on my knees praying.
Come on, baby. Somebody make a play.
This is it. Come on.
4th and 6 for the 31.
Blitz is on. Favre hit as he throws. Pass is going to be incomplete. Denver! Denver's going to win it! Oh, baby, they're going to win this thing! Are you kidding me?
And there's just tears streaming out of my eyes. There was no way to explain it.
Talk about a 10-ton truck lift off your shoulders. We're the Broncos. We're champions. We're not Buffalo. We're not Minnesota. We're champions now.
Floyd Little was there, and Floyd Little felt it was vindication for his years.
Tears that were flowing in San Diego after they finally won a Super Bowl. People feel this deep in this town.
37 years after their inception, the Broncos were finally champions.
It validated the 60s, 70s, 80s, and for them to do what they did, we were all on that sideline at the same time.
This one's for Todd.
Everybody in this town was proud to be a Bronco fan that day.
And I started thinking about all the great quarterbacks who had played in Super Bowl games, joining the ranks of all of those great Hall of Famers, all in one image.
The next year, that was a great football team, probably the best Bronco team ever.
The Broncos' path to football immortality was blocked by a coach who had found the fountain of youth in Atlanta.
Have 60 minutes to find and get out and win this thing on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Denver dominated from start to finish.
Straight back pressure, and he's down. Romanowski's got him, and down he goes at the 17-yard line.
Okay, man, here it comes.
Elway would be named the game's most valuable player as he threw for over 330 yards, including a touchdown bomb to Rod Smith.
Down deep the middle of the field. Rod Smith's got it. Here we go. 30, 20, 15, 10, 5. Rod Smith, Denver touchdown. 80 yards for John Elway.
Okay, let's go. Let's bury him now. Bury him.
Chandler gets the play off. Rolls to his left. Hello. Now pressured. Looks back to his right. Fires in the middle. Pass is going to be intercepted.
Oh, yeah. Hello, Nick. Hello.
Intercepted, and that's Darius Johnson. He's going to be in Atlanta territory.
All right.
Griffith now in motion to the left. Elway with an empty backfield runs a quarterback draw. Lunges to the goal line. He is in.
Yeah.
Touchdown, John Elway and Denver. Well, we've seen that a number of times in 16 years. Elway with a design draw. He gets up with a big smile on his face, and why not? His helmet is off, both arms extended in the air. And if it's not his last game, it sure seems like it.
Hey, this guy didn't have two better. I don't know if it's his last one.
Hell no!
Keep the pressure on.
It was such an interesting way to end a career.
I'm just graduating from pro football. I can't do it physically anymore. And that's really hard for me to say. Ooh.
I mean, it was a storybook. It was like something you'd read to a little kid, This is once upon a time.
I'm not sure that there's a love affair between the fans and an NFL franchise like there is in Denver.
I love you!
It's almost like I'm kind of the adopted son of Denver.
During the 1999 season opener, Denver honored its hero.
Probably once in our lifetimes, certainly in mine, there is a player that becomes so important to us and so much our hero that his number and his name are synonymous. There'll never be another number 7 on the Denver Broncos. John will always have that number.
Second-year quarterback Brian Griese stepped into the shadow of a legend. a reality he began thinking about following Super Bowl 33. Griese came face to face with his fate as he took the field for his first start.
John Elway is still the Broncos, and it's tough on any quarterback. Every time anybody takes a snap for the Denver Broncos, they compare him to John Elway. Not fair, but understandable.
As the heir apparent, Griese made the perfect first impression.
Hey, let's get it done. Let's have some fun, all right? Shotgun, empty left, wide motion. Three jet stick rookie. I want right.
Now in the gun again, but two backs with him this time. 3rd and 15 from the 39.
To who?
Griese is in the pocket, throws deep down the middle of the field. McCaffrey's there. Here we go, McCaffrey. 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Denver. Ryan Griese to Ed McCaffrey, 61 yards, and Denver strikes first.
However, with such daunting cleats to fill, Griese struggled to find a comfortable fit. And an 0-4 start, combined with the devastating season-ending loss of Terrell Davis in Week 4, added to the burden. The expectations were unforgiving, and the learning curve was steep as Griese labored to find his place.
I think it was extremely difficult for Brian, and the other problem Brian was a rather introspective, cerebral guy. He was, to an extent, the All-American boy, but he didn't come across like John did.
1999 may have been trying, but Griese would learn to gain strength through adversity.
Play fake, Griese on the roll. He can run if he wants to. Brian to the 10, to the 5, to the pylon. That is a Denver touchdown.
Over time, Griese settled into his role, playing with poise and confidence. He developed the physical and mental toughness of a team leader while guiding the Broncos back into the playoffs.
Griese, playing time. Now on the roll, looks back at the end zone, throws towards McCaffrey. That is a Denver touchdown.
Hey, more proud of that. I'm on the sideline, I take a look, I go over to this quarterback over here, number 14. I look at his chin, and it looks like he needs about 10, 12 stitches. Doesn't even phase him. Brian Griese, that's one of the best games.
Rookie running back Mike Anderson helped ease the pressure. The 6th-round draft choice was a pleasant surprise, rushing for a team rookie record 1,487 yards.
Midfield, Anderson, 45-40, 35-30. Springs, can he get him? No. Anderson, 10-5, touchdown Denver. Wow.
In 2000, receivers Rod Smith and Ed McCaffrey each reached the pinnacle of careers defined by hard work and persistence.
I think McCaffrey and Rod Smith use what they have in talent as well as any set of receivers in NFL history.
After being cast off by the Giants and buried on the 49ers depth chart, Ed McCaffrey was finally given a chance to shine in Denver.
Well, what happened is I was at San Francisco the last year, and San Francisco had brought Ed in after he was cut from the Giants. And you could see with the way Ed worked that he had a chance to be a very, very good player. And they had so many receivers at that time, San Francisco, it was a perfect situation for me to bring him in here.
A lot of his teammates look at Ed and think there should be a target painted on the middle of his jersey and with a little sign that says insert helmet here, because this guy just takes some hellacious hits and keeps bouncing back.
I love to see Ed McCaffrey get up after a hit and adjust his neck. It is one of the great sights in the NFL. Here's this guy, this big, tall receiver who goes over the middle and just gets the living daylight knocked out of him almost every time he makes a catch. And he always gets up, he does one of these with his neck, and off he goes.
Ed McCaffrey is what I would show a film of to any young player in football. This is the desire you should have. These are the traits that you should have. This is the way you should play football.
One stiff arm away, inside the 20, inside the 10, inside the 5, he scores! What a great effort by Ed McCaffrey!
I just think McCaffrey is a marvelous, marvelous player.
Oh, my! I'm going to tell you what, Brian Williams, that's Ed McCaffrey that just tattooed you on your back and allowed that thing to go down another 15 yards.
Ed McCaffrey is such a fun player to watch, especially when things are tight. I think he's the kind of guy, you get in a jam, you look for Ed McCaffrey.
Clock at 29 and counting. Elway drops straight back, fires into the end zone, ball's tipped in the air, and caught! McCaffrey, touchdown! Eddie McCaffrey has got a touchdown!
McCaffrey's determination and unselfishness became contagious, especially with his pass-catching partner.
He's going to go out there and he's going to lay it on the line for you. I just love playing with him. You want to play with guys like that, and his mentality is pretty much like mine. He'll do whatever. He blocks, he does, and he doesn't care as long as we win the game. Very unselfish player, and that's probably why we kind of bonded, from the start. That once we got to playing together.
Originally signed as a rookie free agent in 1995, Rod Smith was destined for stardom from the first time he touched the ball.
Rod Smith's first catch in the National Football League was a touchdown and won the game. It was against the Redskins, and it was another one of those games that the Broncos were behind late in the game, and Elway had the ball out around midfield.
Everybody was hurt, and I was the last one left pretty much, and that's me. It just waited my turn, and I took advantage of an opportunity.
Well, they're going to throw the Hail Mary here with 6 seconds to go. Elway's in the shotgun, steps up in the pocket, looking long. Here goes the pass. Rod Smith up. He got it! Broncos win! Rod Smith makes the touchdown catch!
Rod Smith just went up and took the ball away from him. Unbelievable.
That first ever catch, and it still hangs on my wall in my basement, and every time I see it, I kind of get goosebumps. That kind of started me to where I am now.
Smith quickly ascended to the top of the depth chart and became the Broncos' most reliable wideout.
Rod Smith will make the catch in traffic. He's not afraid to go over the middle.
Deep ball, Smith double covered. Rod goes over a Charger and makes the catch. Big time play by a big time player.
Smith quietly went about his business, rewriting the record books. By 2004, he owned team records for receptions, receiving yards, and touchdown catches.
Plenty of time pumps, now runs to the left, steals, throws, back in the end zone, touchdown! Touchdown, Rod Smith! And Rod Smith is 56th career touchdown as a Bronco. That makes him number 1 in that category in club history.
In 2000, McCaffrey and Smith each caught 100 passes. Only the second receiving tandem to do so in a season. That year marked the closing of one of Denver's most recognizable landmarks. For 41 seasons, Mile High Stadium had been synonymous with thin air, late game heroics, and the loudest fans in football. On December 23, 2000, the Broncos said goodbye to their hallowed home.
Man, there's a lot of memories that go in this room. I mean, the last 40 years, a lot has been accomplished with this organization. This may be our last game here at Mile High. Let's do it right.
Denver closed out Mile High in style, dominating the 49ers from the start.
Hands it off right up the middle, and Coleman's going to go to the outside 20, 15 to the 10 to the 5. There you go. It's going to be a touchdown. Yeah.
Come on. Eddie.
Deep ball left side for McCaffrey in the end zone. Eddie Mack has got a Denver touchdown. Wow.
After the final gun, players and fans continued to celebrate.
What a great feeling.
That's great.
Mile High Stadium. For 40 years, the Broncos have played to a full house, creating an atmosphere unmatched in professional football. Tonight, the curtain comes down on Mile High, December 23rd,
Broncos ushered in 2001 with emotions running high and expectations running higher as they moved into their new home.
This is the moment we've been waiting for. Everybody in the nation gets to see the best stadium in America, Invesco Field at Mile High.
They christened their new stadium by pounding the defending NFC champion New York Giants.
Yeah, I like it. You? Yeah, let's go. I write Fox, you all go on 3. Take a chance.
Griese fakes the draw, steps up, throws deep on the right side for Smith. In the end zone, Ron Smith with a Denver touchdown.
However, victory came with a devastating price.
Griese drops back, throws, McCaffrey's open, and makes a sensational one-handed catch, and then gets blasted by Sean Williams, and McCaffrey is still down.
Wide receiver Ed McCaffrey was lost for the season after fracturing his leg in the third quarter. McCaffrey's injury was the beginning of a difficult stretch for the franchise. 2001 and 2002 were defined by inconsistent play. The Broncos watched fast starts fade and late-season playoff runs stall, leaving them out of the playoffs in back-to-back years for the first time under Mike Shanahan. In 2003, a ray of hope arrived in quarterback Jake Plummer, a gunslinger whose renegade style and competitive fire seemed to be the perfect mix to rekindle the Broncos' playoff flame.
First, I want to start by saying I'm honored and privileged, excited about every other adjective that could be positive to be here and be part of the Denver Broncos organization. What it came down to was my heart and my gut, and it was about winning.
Plummer took charge of the Denver huddle. Energizing the offense with Jake under center, the Broncos were able to reignite their offensive power.
Let's go, huh? Playmakers. Surrounded by playmakers right here. We're going to go shotgun empty left. 23 scat wide Buffalo. Sharp, you're breaking a slant versus 2 to that side, your side. Right. Plus look quick too anyway. If they come strong, I got to hit you. Red 18, son! Good catch, Sharp. Let's go now. Come on, let's wake up. Let's go. Let's go score, man. Got trips right. Zebra left. 60, zebra slice, halfback wide. Let's go now. All we need is one big one from somebody. Starts with me getting the ball delivered. You guys up front protecting. Let's go now. There we go, blue, blue. Set hot. Red 18. Red 18. Set hot. Hot.
Throws to the end zone. Pass going to be caught by Ashley Lalise.
Great catch, baby.
That is a Denver touchdown. Jake Plummer showing you some of the mobility that made him such a valuable commodity in the offseason. And the fans in Denver love it.
You step up, you, whoever it is, got to step up. Someone got to make a play. Let's go. Let's not panic. We're fine. Let's just play. Let's go.
In 2004, Plummer set a team record for most passing yards in a season. More importantly, Denver was winning and headed back to the playoffs.
Jake Plummer, all-time passing yardage for a season, 4,089 yards. Also tied the record in touchdowns. Great job. Great job.
Despite the rejuvenation, victories in the postseason remained elusive. The Broncos' playoff train derailed suddenly and swiftly in Indianapolis during Wild Card Weekend in 2003. It was clear there was still work to be done in Denver. The Broncos began to upgrade their defense. They traded for All-Pro cornerback Champ Bailey and signed veteran safety John Lynch.
Tonight we play to our standard, all right? We play to our standard. Everything else will take care of itself. We'll dominate.
Let's go, champ. Look for them taking a shot here. Look for them taking a shot.
Come on! Try me like that! How they gonna try me like that? How they gonna try me like that?
Green drops the throw. Pressure comes by Fay. He can't get him. He's got him by the jersey. Green pulls away, and now avoids Pope. Green on the run, throws, passes, intercepted Champ Bailey, and that is his first interception as the Broncos. What a play by Champ Bailey.
Give up, bro! Give up, bro! Give me that! Give me that!
Together, Bailey and Lynch provided added leadership, while their aggressive style gave the defense much-needed confidence and swagger. By 2005, Denver appeared ready to re-enter the upper echelon of the NFL. The Broncos opened the season winning 4 of their first 5 games. Plummer was playing the best football of his career, and the running game was churning up yardage.
Toss left side to Bell. Bell's got the corner to the 40, 45, gets it blocked. Foot race, here we go, 40, 35, 30, Tatum to the 20, the 15, the 10. You ain't gonna catch him. 5, goal line. That is a Denver touchdown, 67 yards.
Denver was playing at a high level, but it was a mid-season meeting with the world champion New England Patriots that would determine just how far the Broncos had come. Trailing 3-0 in the second quarter, the offense detonated a big play. Denver then built a 28-3 lead behind 3 Jake Plummer touchdowns.
Plummer drops to throw. Throws a pass to the right side. Pass caught. Rod Smith's got a touchdown.
The defense rose up to preserve an impressive win over the defending champs. The Broncos finished 2005 with 13 victories, the most wins since John Elway's final season in 1998. And captured the 10th AFC West title. Head coach Mike Shanahan was validated as the most successful coach in team history by becoming Denver's all-time leader in wins.
He's the winningest coach in Bronco history. No coach. Congratulations, Mike.
Thanks, man.
The first playoff game at Invesco Field at Mile High featured a rematch with the Patriots in a Saturday night showdown. The Broncos would have to overcome New England's 3 Super Bowl titles and quarterback Tom Brady's playoff-perfect 10-0 record.
Ready? Wait 20! Wait 20 seconds!
The defense rattled Brady and attacked him from all sides. The aggressive play paid dividends.
Handoff right up the middle to Kevin Fogg.
Broncos may have it, they do. Denver's got it at the New England 40-yard line. All right. All right. Mike Anderson is into the end zone, and Denver's got the lead. Denver takes advantage, as good teams do.
Denver held a 10-6 lead, but New England was driving. Needing a stop on 3rd and goal, it was Champ Bailey who made the champs pay.
Brady flushed and throws the run pass. Going to be intercepted. Hurrah! Champ Bailey in the end zone. Down the sideline. Bailey, 30, 40. Foot race. Bailey stepped out of a tackle. Champ Bailey, 30, 20, 15, 10. Oh, did he get there? He's hit out of bounds, I think, at the 1. Shy of the pylon.
Anderson culminated the longest non-scoring play in NFL history with a short 6.
Get in there! Get in there! Get in there! That's 6! That's 6! That's 6!
Late in the 3rd quarter, a muffed punt then put Denver in position to deliver the decisive blow that dethroned the dynasty.
Play fake. Plummer now rolling to his right, throws, pass caught. Rod Smith, and Denver has got a touchdown. And the Broncos may have just said so long to the world champions.
And the Broncos will advance to the AFC Championship game.
Mike, you guys played well. You guys made a lot of big plays.
Thanks, Bill.
Hell of a job. Good luck.
You're the best. Thanks. You're a class
Hope you guys go all the way.
Thanks.
Euphoria would turn to disappointment a week later as the Broncos' Super Bowl dreams went unfulfilled with a loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers in the AFC Championship game. However, in victory or defeat, Denver's love affair with their Broncos continues to run deep. Since bringing a small-time Western outpost into the big time in 1960, the Denver Broncos have grown to become as much a part of the Denver landscape as the Rocky Mountains. What began as a ragtag team of lovable losers has blossomed into one of the most envied franchises in the NFL, where victory is the benchmark for success and achievement the model of excellence.
I think you have a great owner in Pat Bowlen who not only wants to treat his team right and his former players right, but also the fans right. They see good football, they see a franchise that tries to make the right moves, and they see a coach who is one of the best ever. That's what I think is important, is that this love affair, if you want to call it that, has continued.
As each new season arrives in Denver, the Broncos look forward to contending for a championship and meeting expectations that will always be a mile high.
In the hollowed skies of winter, a season comes full circle. Champions captured in metal, legends etched in gold and silver. Precious stones that tell the story of a team and the price that is paid for victory.
We had done something that no one else had ever done. We had gone from utter trash
The goal.
He will hunt you down and tell you, make the frickin' play.
The only way to escape that kind of wrath was to be perfect.
I'm running out in the field, and Charlie says, you better take care of that ball. And Drew was kind of standing next to me, and he says, Dad, go out there and sling it.
And I got them together. I said, guys, we've worked our rear ends off to get here, but I emphatically made the point that this game's worth a big blanking ring.
They would start saying, kill, Bubba, kill. Kill, Bubba, kill. You were ready to snap this guy's neck if necessary.
And in that precise moment, when you know that the next ball game will be in the Super Bowl, it just doesn't get any better. It doesn't get any better than that.
And so the countdown begins to the greatest Super Bowl team of all time. One team more perfect than any other. 11 men, flawless, on either side of an imaginary line. Offensively, brilliant. Defensively, undaunted. Men work a lifetime for this moment. One game that can define a career. It's a game we all love. It's their game. It's our game.
This has been a presentation of the NFL Network.